So after yesterday's video where we discussed the new grind game mode a little bit, I spent a lot of the evening talking about it on Twitter, and as I expected from the community, it's pretty much turned into this Marmite game mode where some people love it and then other people absolutely hate it. But there is something else that we can be focusing on this week for Battlefield 5, as well as the grind game mode, and you do need to play the game mode in order to get this thing. It's the Commando Carbine. It's up for grabs through the Tides of War unlock system. So, in this video, we're going to work through how to unlock it, and then how it performs in-game, and I'll give you my opinion on it as well. It is kind of like a weird little weapon, but it can offer some really cool moments when you get it in the right areas. But before we get into that, this video today is sponsored by Elgato. These guys produce the highest quality products that you can use to improve your streams on YouTube or Twitch, and to broadcast your gameplay to the world with their recording equipment. I've been using their Stream Deck for a few months now on my streams, and I've got some general PC shortcuts programmed in as well, and it just makes things so much easier to manage. So for more details on Elgato's products, click the link at the top of the description, and that'll take you over to their website. Okay then, the Commando Carbine. As I've said, it's linked to the grind game mode somewhat, and again, that's going to divide opinion as much as the grind game mode did in yesterday's video. Some people don't like the fact that Tides of War is forcing players to play game modes that they might not want to play in order to unlock the weapon that they really want to get their hands on, but that's the situation we've had since the start of Battlefield 5, and because DICE isn't showing any sign that they're going to change that's how they do things, well, I guess we're just going to have to get used to it. This week, you'll need to complete at least 5 different challenges to get your hands on the new weapon, and there's a few different ways you can do it, but most of it is geared towards you playing that brand new grind game mode. First of all then, you'll need to complete this first challenge on the first line called The Grind Never Stops, and it simply asks you to play 1 round of the new grind game mode. There is a separate offshoot challenge called Lead Poisoning, and that asks you to fire 5,000 bullets, and although that sounds like a lot of bullets, it really isn't when you play the new grind game mode. All you're doing is shooting at the end of the day. This is a completely optional challenge, but it is one that you're just going to end up completing passively because, like I said, all you're doing is firing bullets. Next up, the tree splits into 3 different sections. The top path asks you to complete 2 challenges. The first one, Into the Breach, you need to kill 2 enemies inside 20 meters in 1 life, and then Right Place, Right Time is the second one, and you need to kill 2 enemies with hand grenades in 1 life. Arguably, this is the easiest route for you to take, provided that you can secure a double kill with the grenades in the second challenge. And a quick tip, and I've been using this recently, I've been throwing grenades to the side of cover where I think an enemy might be, and they might be hiding behind that, and then I shoot the grenade myself to make it explode quicker, and then the enemy can't get away. That might be something that you want to try. The middle path also asks you to complete 2 different challenges. The first one, called Like Hotcakes, you need to resupply teammates 100 times. So just start slinging ammo and health pouches like there's no tomorrow. Players need them all the time in the grind game mode, with all those stray bullets flying everywhere that could be damaging people, and their own bullet counts depleting by the second, so just keep spamming the throw button near crowds and you'll soon rack up those 100 resupplies. Sounds like a lot, but again, just like all those bullets you need to fire, it really isn't that much in this new game mode. And then, secondly, you need to complete Melee Mayhem, scoring 1,500 damage using sidearms, melee weapons, or bayonets. This is the only challenge of the week so far that I haven't completed, and that's simply because I've been using the grind game mode to work through a bunch of the proficiency and mastery assignments for all of the primary weapons that I haven't completed those for yet. I'm over halfway through completing this segment, so I'm sure I'll get it done soon enough, but pretty much since this mode launched yesterday, I've just been focusing on primary weapon kills. And the bottom path has another 2 challenges. The first one is called Get Up and Get Going, asking you to revive 5 teammates in 1 life, and the second is called Enabler, and you need to resupply 15 teammates in 1 life. Again, with the grind game mode, those aren't lofty goals to reach, but if you choose to do it in another game mode, you might have some problems. Towards the end of the tree, things come back to one central branch, and we have 2 mandatory assignments to finish things off. First of all, pulverize. You need to score 15,000 points in grind, and lastly, a game of numbers, where you need to heal teammates or damage enemies for 7,500 health in the grind game mode. There is another optional assignment attached to the very last one called Silent Death, and you can complete that one once you start using the Commando Carbine that you just unlocked. You need to score 5 kills in 1 life using the Commando Carbine, and that will give you an extra 10,000 XP for your chapter. Okay then, now you've got your hands on the Commando Carbine, which is for the medic class, by the way. That caught me by surprise. I didn't really expect that. How does it actually play in Battlefield 5? I've taken somewhat of a liking to it, but it is a weapon that I feel that you really do need to be patient with, and a lot of people might not have that kind of patience and might just write it off as a bad weapon, so to speak. It's certainly nowhere near as powerful as the full-fat bolt-action rifles of the Recon class, and with that in mind, you will have to adapt your playstyle to fit its lower damage model. It's also the first weapon to arrive in the medic class that isn't an SMG, so you're going to be operating in a different way to how you would normally in that class if you choose to run with it, so bear that in mind. The reason that I think you need to be patient with the Commando Carbine is because if you're not aiming for the head here, then you're going to be cycling the chamber a lot and just seeing a lot of hit markers on your screen as opposed to kill notifications. Up to around the 30-meter mark, the Commando will one-shot headshot kill enemies, which is really important to know and quite satisfying at close range. If you're coming up against other players, they're likely going to be holding some kind of fully automatic weapon within that range. Coming up against medics with SMGs, assault players with assault rifles, etc., you're going to have to make sure every single shot from your Commando Carbine counts. Those full auto weapons that you're coming up against, they can pump out their damage a lot faster than you can. But the Commando does have a faster rate of fire specialization on level 3 of Expect Tree, but that still doesn't make it any easier. You're going to be gunned down if you're not aiming for the head as much as you can and trying to do as much damage as you can. At further ranges as well, it does become apparent that the Commando Carbine is really down on power. Because of the integrated suppressor the Commando has, bullet drop becomes a real consideration. And because you're doing way less damage, it's going to take you a lot more bullets to kill your enemy. And let's talk about that for a second. There were a few times where I was testing out the Commando at long range, trying to take down a few players to see how the weapon would really perform. I did manage to secure a couple of kills doing that, but it took 4 shots to the body at long range to bring down a player, and if you throw a headshot in there, it only reduced that to a 3 bullet to kill. Now, I know that people really wanted the medic class to have a bit more range to it, and DICE certainly gave it that with the Commando Carbine here, but I don't think a 4 bullet to kill bolt action carbine was exactly what they were envisioning. In general then, if you choose to use the Commando Carbine, you are running around with a much weaker version of the bolt-action rifles that the Recon class has, and you're likely going to get killed quite a lot by a bunch of players who are running around with automatic weapons. Doesn't sound like that great of a choice really, does it? And to be honest, it isn't that brilliant of a weapon, but I have rather enjoyed using it, strangely. There's something about deliberately handicapping yourself compared to other players and still coming out victorious that I really enjoy. In previous Battlefield games, when I'd mastered different weapons, I'd remove the upgraded optics that I'd put on them and I'd go back to iron sights, just to make things a little bit harder for me and to change up the gameplay a little bit. And I kind of feel like I'm doing that here with the Commando Carbine, although instead of me removing the optics and making it slightly harder to use, it's just the weapon inherently isn't that competitive, and so I'm already starting with 1 foot down on everybody else. But once you start stringing a few kills together with this thing, both in close quarters and at slightly longer ranges, then I think you'll start to understand the feeling that I'm having a little bit more. You have no right sometimes to win some of the gunfights you enter, but you're still winning them because maybe you got into a better position and you landed a headshot or something. You're using an inferior weapon in almost every aspect, yet you're still getting kills, so overall, it feels pretty good. Objectively, should you pick this weapon over something like the Sten or the MP34, which can reach quite far for SMGs in Battlefield 5, I'd say probably not. You're kind of just putting yourself at a disadvantage by using it, but if you want to have a good time and win some gunfights that you really shouldn't be winning, then I'd advise you to give it a go. I'm going to rank it up to rank 10 at least, and I've unlocked this really cool camo for it already, which you can unlock for company coin directly in the customize menu. This isn't like some kind of Battlefield currency only thing. You can unlock it with your grind currency, and it does look really, really cool. This kind of skin is not on any other weapon in the game at the moment, so yeah, I unlocked it at the first chance that I could, and it looks pretty cool. Overall, it's fun to use. Is it as competitive as it could be? No. I'd probably still use the SMGs if I had the option. But there you are. Let me know what you think of the Commando Carbine down below in the comments section, and drop this video a like if you enjoyed it. But until next time, my name is Westie, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.